And we're rolling. It is Afterburner on a night where the Flames pick up. I wrote it down. When is the last time the Flames have skated to a victory where your guts weren't tied in a complete knot? And I went back. I think it was the Arizona game. They've maybe lost some that didn't have your guts in a knot, but the last win, I guess, was going back to Arizona. Even the loss to Minnesota, you kind of felt like they were all everything's tight, nothing's ever easy. And this one maybe had the makings of not being easy after they basically put one in their own net, but they found a way. 5-1 is the final. Welcome to Afterburner. It's Boom, it's Pinder. I'm usually a very positive guy, Ryan. You know me.
Yeah.
The glass is always half full.
To a fault.
I really want to be excited about this win because it's now 3 of 4. 4 of 4 would have been really good, though. I know I'm asking for a lot. It's like they just got a lopsided win over the Senators. What the hell? Like, are you never happy? The friggin' Ducks game just let so much air out of the balloon for me. It just this feels kind of hollow. Are you the same, or are you still?
It's a nice performance, but again, like you find yourself 4 back, games played even. Like,
yeah,
it's a 2 would be a whole lot nicer, wouldn't it, Dean?
Well, I don't know. I just
2 is way.
You know what it is. Beyond that, it's not just the math. It's that they're still capable of playing shitty.
Yeah.
Markstrom's been better. The team has looked good. They get the win in Dallas. That's so dramatic. Maybe this is we talked about it on the other show. Maybe this is that galvanizing thing. But you came out against the Ducks, and the Ducks beat you, and they shouldn't have beat you. You're the better team. I know we can, and we'll discuss what kind of opponents they're going to face here over the next week or so. But that Ducks game, they needed this win. If they're going to get in, they need this win. They need more wins, all of it.
Yep.
And I don't want to, we'll talk about this game, and I don't want to take the shine off of it because they were very good again. But God, the math is up to 73 points, and Winnipeg sweeps Florida.
Somehow.
They're close to catching Colorado, but Colorado, we think, has some games in hand. There's Nashville. How does Nashville, what are they, 4 games in hand on the Flames after this game tonight?
Recording here, they are up in the third at 3-2 at last check, and still that with nope, look at that, they're off to overtime, man. I'm tied at 4-4. Okay, go Ducks.
I'm gonna turn it on.
There you go. You know what, I'm gonna
my
stupid light above me. Look at these horrible shadows on my face.
Go get it.
I'm gonna get it right now.
Get it.
Long extendo string. Here, we'll just slow behind me.
See, this is how it goes, folks. We're a professional organization here. Shh. I got people sleeping in the
Grizzly vets. That's better.
So so let's get to it. Markstrom, good in net once again.
Very good.
And it should be a shutout, really.
Yep,
I don't know who you want to blame there, if it's Markstrom just kind of firing it into the shin pads of Backlund or whatever. But this was a shutout performance in all intents and purposes for Markstrom. So,
and you talked about how this team, it's been so tight. How many times have they had a third where it's actually carefree and easy? Even when they were up 4 or 5 in Dallas, they had to hang on for dear life to win 6-5 or whatever. But this one had the ingredients to be another one of those games. You have 3 posts in the first period, a disallowed goal, and they could have just said, well, it's not going our way tonight. But Markstrom makes the big save on Tkachuk. They score, it gets overturned, but they score again. They end up being up 2-0 after 20. And you're like, that's showing some backbone there.
I know you're saying words right now, but I can only hear the rasp in your voice. We were talking before we went live, and I didn't really pick up on it. Yeah. Now I really am picking up on it. You're kind of very subdued. And I don't know that it's necessarily because of that Ducks game, but you had a weekend, did you? Did you?
Sister's 40th last night.
Oh,
could have used that extra bleeping hour, Mr. and Mrs. Time Change. Didn't need that for kid hockey this morning. So watching from the lounge, getting a Caesar in me to get back to sea level.
Good for you. Yeah, that's the Wolverine move there. Now, what happens when you go out? Because do you just lose your voice naturally, or is there singing, or is there screaming at high pitch like I know that you like to do?
A healthy amount of hooting and hollering, but then in my great wisdom, now remember, I was fighting it all week. I just started feeling good on Friday. And then I immediately stacked 2 idiot nights in a row, and then followed my sister's 40th with some late night karaoke until last call, like a moron, belting out the Big Bopper's Chantilly Lace into the shortened.
How does that one go? I'm not familiar with that song.
Chantilly lace and a pretty face and a ponytail hanging down, wiggling a walk, giggling a talk. Makes the world go round, round.
Yeah.
So funny, make me spend my money, make me act real loose like a long neck goose. And oh, baby, that's the one I like.
See, I've said this before. You should really have some sort of I don't know. You provide the music and the speakers and the sound system, and you're the MC and all of that sort of thing, because there's no party that fails when you're around. Well, this is a 2-0 Nashville scores. Predators win.
There you go. Nice
OT. They're still the Flames.
Roman, right? Got him in the pool.
Still the Flames. Okay, let's talk about this one. 5-1. The Flames do beat the Ottawa Senators. 6th straight start for Markstrom. Yep. 2 breakaway saves in the first period. The Brady Tkachuk one and Julian Gauthier both leading. I don't know if it lead the goals, but the Flames would score shortly thereafter. It's those timely saves. Rhett was talking about the Senators. Of the games in this stretch, he really felt like it was going to be the Ottawa one, that PTSD from friggin' COVID year and all of that. Yeah. Ottawa looked tired, right? They got Mandolese and net. They looked tired, but still a couple of huge errors by the Flames led to breakaway chances. They would then score. Makes the save off of DeBrincat, that glove save. Hanifin then scores shortly after. It's taken too long, I think, but it's another shutout-like performance for Markstrom, and he's giving them everything you wish you were, November, December, January, where was this then? But it is here now, and it's the only way if they're gonna put booster cables to it, and they're trying, obviously, this is how it's gonna go.
So they now will head to the desert. They get Arizona on Tuesday. It is, you'd hope it was 5 wins in a row you could be talking about if you could win there. But again, it's that stench of the Friday night loss to the Ducks that really sours the well, or whatever you want to say. Vegas, Dallas, LA, it's a tough little stretch here after Arizona. And I don't think Arizona in Mullet Arena is an easy thing either. They've had a really good run of success there. Not to get too much away from this game, but you had to like a lot of what you saw. And how good would you be feeling if you'd just taken care of business on Friday, right?
So I'm not the only one. So it's not just me being poopy pants.
And I like this game. Like, this game is a standalone, but it's just Friday was so bad. It stings, right?
Were they good in this game, or was Ottawa?
I think both.
They win 5-1. Obviously, not that they didn't deserve to win. I'm just wondering, if you take this effort and this performance and you put it against some other teams, is it enough to get not even 5-1, but is it enough to get a win against Minnesota in the game you lost 3-0?
1 for 3 on a power play. Penalty kill was great. They created probably more than Ottawa on the 4 penalty kills they had against Ottawa. And I thought they generated some chances. I didn't think the Mandalorian, or whatever the hell his name is, was great, but that's it's about time they actually made 3rd and 4th stringers look like 3rd and 4th stringers. Where they got the Mads Sogard treatment when they were in Ottawa, and that one seemed to be in hand late until it wasn't. But I don't think you can play we'll take this game and how does it play? Like, what didn't you like about them? Yes, Ottawa was tired, but full marks, because earlier this year they'd find a way to make that really difficult. The Flames.
2 points, a lot of 2-point efforts. Why don't we do it? Let's just get to the cheers of the game. I have a feeling probably one of those guys will slot in here. Presented by BK Bowfort Liquor, located on the Trans-Canada Highway, right across from Winsport, beside the McDonald's. Stop in, stock up if you're heading out of town on your way to the mountains, if you live in the west side, or if you're just in the neighborhood and you want to say hi to Mandeep and the family, go and see them at BK Bowfort Liquor on Twitter, at BK Liquor on Instagram, at BK Bowfort Liquor. I'll let you start off, Pinder. Some nights this is a tough one, but there's a few candidates tonight for sure.
I'm going back to Markstrom. We've talked about it. The only reason there's hope is because you've seen him play well, and all it will take to deflate that hope is 2 on 3 or something like that. And there he was early tonight making saves. That's been the biggest problem with his game. The numbers are bad everywhere, but the first 5 shots of the game, he's probably rocking like a 7-something. He's been really good in March. He continues to give them chances to win. And I think about this game, if he allows either of those breakaway chances early on because you'd be frustrated as hell. You'd be talking about post, which everyone hates, and rightfully so. It's annoying as hell. And, you would be talking about a win. You'd be talking about, oh, it's never easy. They're getting Christopher Gibson again. Markstrom allowed them to, have this in the bag, up 3 after 40.
It's an interesting point because I never thought about that. Those saves in the first period, obviously they're huge. They're breakaways, but those are the ones that were going in the net.
Mm-hmm.
Not that long ago. Shot 1, shot 2, shot 3. You were down 1-0, 2-0. So
this
timely for sure. Yeah.
Go back to Friday against the Ducks. When they're behind, it feels very, very hard. It starts to look like Mount Everest when this team is chasing because the goals don't necessarily come easily for them, although they did tonight.
I was going to pivot on this one after the puck went in their net. I don't know. I feel like I feel like Markstrom put Backlund in a tough spot
really
there. So he puts it kind of right at him, and there's not much he can do. So I'm not going to punish Backlund. I'm going to give him my cheers of the game. The 2 feeds, the 2 assists, fantastic.
Really nice.
World class. He gets the one that goes off of him against Anaheim. That's not easy to do, off of your leg or whatever that was. But in this game, Backlund, why not? We're going to give him my cheers of the game.
Right.
Kadri, 2 helpers. Happy for Lindholm. He maybe doesn't get the respect or at least the attention lately that he deserves, but he gets a goal. It was a big one. Had another goal post in that first period, goal 200 for his career. And I know we'll talk about Huberdeau here in a moment, but I've got Backlund. You've got Jacob Markstrom. Those are our cheers of the game for BK Bowfort Liquor. There you see it. Craft beer, wine, spirits.
Yeah, all that.
Yeah, all of it. You had all of it.
And we're all out. Pinder was here yesterday. Restocked Monday.
We got Warner that if you ever left town like Warner did to poor Bonton Meats, what would Mandeep do? They'd be standing there with,
They'd have a lot of inventory on their hands.
Please help us. Please help us. There you go. Cheers to Mandeep. Cheers to Backlund and to Markstrom. On Twitter at BK Liquor. On Instagram at BK Bowfort.
Love it. Shows.
Huberdeau on the left side.
Huberdeau.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I've been wringing my hands over it. We had Frank Saravelli. He brought it up on the show last week, and then it became kind of a thing. So I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't so focused on the fact that he wasn't playing left wing. I just wasn't sure why the hell he wasn't getting points and didn't look like a guy who was close to breaking through for a good chunk of this season. Is that it? So is that because he's looked much better? He looked great tonight.
Guy? I mean, did he look great or would he look better? I mean, that's probably the question, I suppose. Shall I pitch you?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Why not?
I'll pitch you for buy it or sell it. For Derrick Newman of the Newman Deans real estate team with CIR Realty. You can see the number on your screen, email address as well. Give him a call, 403-619-6661. Buy it or sell it.
You sound awful.
Huberdeau.
Are you coming to work tomorrow?
Better on the left side. Have you seen enough? Are you convinced this is where he's got to be, or is it just small sample, whatever? You look fine.
Well, you know what? Sure. I'll spin it because I kind of threw it by you. Same vein. Guy sets a league record for left wingers a year ago.
Yeah.
Is playing on the right wing. Is it what weak excuse for someone who's having a subpar season, like really subpar? Is it weak? You're still out there. The minutes are probably about the same. You're still on the power play, but your production has dropped by more than a half. It's just bottomed right out. Weak excuse, or do you have to just shake your head at the coach and say, here's one of your, if you're going to have success, it's going to be on the back of this guy who has been a top 5 guy in scoring, and you're playing him out of position. And I don't know, are they sitting down in the office and having conversations? Coach, I really feel better on the left side. Daryl Sutter had to have known. Maybe I'm dumb and I didn't know. Daryl Sutter had to have known how all the production and the success a year ago came on the left side, didn't he? So where's the blame game on this?
Well, he played the left side, I think, for the first 20-some games of the year and was off. So I don't really – I understand that there's a lot of change for Huberdeau when you talk about the systems they're in, teammates, coaching style. Never mind the weight of that contract that'll kick in next year, expectations. It was a really, really rough start, but he didn't look great on the left side of the start of the year. Nothing looked great. I've liked him more of late. And if he does feel like he sees more of the ice and can open his hips and, really scan the rink from the left side, then by all means keep him there. It's just hilarious that it's friggin' March 10 and we're talking about it. With a Jack Adams winner and the near Art Ross winner. Like,
what it made me
that big of a deal, I feel like it wouldn't have got to March 10.
Yeah. What it reminded me of was TJ Brody playing on his he's just much better. He just needs to play. He's much more comfortable.
Better on his offside.
It's okay. All right. If that's where you're comfortable and if that's what's going to make it work, then friggin' get over there. So I'm with you. It was December or something. Then they took him off that left side, but feels like when you're really searching for answers in offense, that would have been an easy one. So are we, either way, I'm buying. At this point, yes, I'm buying, put him on the left, leave him on the left, and hopefully he can, because I thought he was good tonight. He made some plays. There probably could have been a couple more assists there if guys were finishing. But yeah, buy it, leave him.
Good, love it. I'll buy it as well.
Get over there and stay there.
And I'll say this, I don't mind Dubé on the right side there. I like a little speed added next to Huberdeau and Kadri, and they haven't really been using that. I know they had with Pelche for a small window there, but it's been a lot of Lucic, and then Nick Ritchie slots in there. Like, that's probably 7 weeks, those two guys. That's a plodding, heavy left side guy on the line. Now you flop Huberdeau to the left side. I don't mind Dubé and Pace on the right. There's some more skill to work with. He's got some hockey IQ. That to me is a much better solution than the 6 weeks of Lucic we had to watch, and we banged our heads against the wall continually saying, "Pelche's right there. The hell are you doing?"
Buy it or sell it, presented by Derrick Newman of Newman Dean's Real Estate Group with CIR Realty. Whether you're buying or selling, let Derrick do the work for you. Email dnewman@cirrealty.ca, or as Pinder said, call 403-619-6661. You think about the things that we've beat our head against the wall in a way with this year. The Lucic one for sure. More recently, Dubé, the guy that goes to the fourth line. Rhett's talked a lot about having the older guys in the fourth line. This felt Pelche, he's spot to succeed. Dubé back where he should be. Dewar into the lineup. Ritchie out. Lucic. Yeah. All right. And it's maybe subtle, and if maybe we're seeing it because we want to see it, but again, Dewar gets in and things happen. The fourth line does get a goal. It's off a horrible turnover, but still, get him in, leave him in. Gets the youth. It needs to be there. It just does.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. The 71's a big add to this lineup, energy wise and pace wise. And I like that they've had Pelche, literally climb his way up the lineup to the top line. I like Dubé in a top 6 role more than centering in the fourth line. I don't have a problem with Trevor Lewis. Like, he's not sexy, but he can play any of the 3-4 positions. He can kill penalties. And Daryl loves that. He's a versatile guy. And Luch, it's not the worst Luch you've had. And it's in a more limited role than when we were force-fed him on the second line for 6 weeks, mind-numbingly. So I don't mind it. I would love to see Adam Ruzicka come more than 10 games in a row in the popcorn end zone. I'd rather see him on the ice, but I understand that his lack of consistency's plagued him his whole career. And at this point of the season, I feel like Daryl's probably made his mind up.
He's an interesting one. I don't know if it was Ryan Pike or Darren Haynes, but I was on Twitter today and kind of skimming, and you almost forget about him, and you forget the kind of tear he was on. You felt like he had arrived when he was put in a top 6 role. And then when the team goes periods between scoring goals, you wonder, where's that desperation? I never really thought that you would go back to bringing Ruzicka in, but he's been gone for so long now. You forget about him.
Yeah, and I think get ready to forget about Nick Ritchie. I don't see him getting back in with if Dewar's healthy. I don't see this coach taking out Lucic. I don't see this coach taking out Lewis, whether that's fair or not. And Nick Ritchie showed you what he's shown everyone in the NHL for the last, 6 years, whatever it is. There's lots of tools, doesn't think it, makes really bad decisions, and puts his team down a man a ton. There's a reason we bought him for almost nothing, right? Yeah. He's essentially a throw-in to make money work. Like, cool.
Speaking of the coach, let's, courtesy of CalgaryFlames.com and Flames TV, Daryl Sutter, Flames coach after this 5-1 win.
Hung in there. Offside goal. But I thought we had good pace to our game all night. And I think, when they did score, we came right back. I think it was the Huberdeau goal, wasn't it, that made it the 3-1? And that's a big play in the game, right?
Those are two spots where maybe with a fragile team, things could have gone the other way.
Yeah, I don't think it's a fragile team.
Fragile situation.
Not really.
How close was this effort to a 60-minute effort in your eyes?
Well, when Eric's asked about that, so that third goal is a big goal, correct? Always is. And then our power play is really good. Our penalty count is really good. So that's allows you to, Ottawa's got two high ammo lines, and they get 18 gets the lucky break on the empty net. So so you got to come right back. And I think Marky made some big saves too.
Daryl, you talked this morning about your record when Huberdeau and Audrey hit the score sheet for you guys. Just speak to their connection on that third goal that you talked about.
Johnny came in on the right side and buried it. Remember Joe McGinley used to play right wing? He scored most of his goals over there. So it's not necessarily what wing you play.
Daryl, to Eric's point, he said like a fragile team, but if things are going wrong, that 2-1 goal can spin away, but instead a minute later.
I haven't seen that with our team.
No,
Once in a while with the inexperience you'll see that or a mistake because you're not quite at the level of the other team, but that's not the word that's what our team is.
In a 5-1 game, there's not normally much focus on the goaltending, but you mentioned Jacob Markstrom. Just how
He made the one huge save when they could have got back within one. So, and then the as I said, the 18 goal, it could be easily deterred, right?
it really seems like he's found his confidence, or maybe just another level recently.
That's his game, though, right? That's kind of what's expected of Jacob. That's what we've expected all year, correct?
There's some nice execution offensively. Can this game be maybe a bit of a catalyst to kind of get some of those guys going?
I hope so.
Did you see what you wanted to see from Huberdeau and Kadri tonight?
Yep, I thought they were consistent in their game. So that's important. I mean, we get at home, you get the matchup you want, right? So, Michael had to deal with the 18 line all night, so that frees other guys up.
Nice for your team to not have to deal with a one-goal lead heading into the third, Daryl, and have some separation down the end there.
I think it's just good to see different lines score and defensemen get involved in it.
There you go. CalgaryFlames.com, Flames TV with the postgame from Daryl Sutter.
Very Daryl.
It is very Daryl. You got to smile. I mean, he came down the right side, though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he didn't even try to hide the smile.
Yeah, it was good.
He's been way softer on them publicly lately, and I think that was needed, and I think he understands that, different strokes for different folks, or whatever the saying is. Like, whatever he was doing, cracking the whip, wasn't getting results, and I think he understands is the only way this team's getting in is they got to get on a heater. So pump him up, I guess.
There were some timely moments in the game. He talked about them. We mentioned it a little bit earlier. Obviously, the breakaway saves in the first period. Flames would score shortly thereafter, the DeBrincat, and he mentioned it in there, the DeBrincat glove save, and then they would score. That Stützle goal, the 18 line, I noticed he's calling the Stützle line the 18 line for Ottawa, but Stützle gets the, kind of shitburger goal there. It was a minute 8 later that Huberdeau scored, and I had kind of jotted that down. A lot of this game is timing. Now, he says they're not a fragile team. It's not what we are. And then later he would say something about the fact we're that kind of team. Struggling to score goals, whatever it is. So what are they if they're not fragile?
I think they are. I mean, I think he doesn't want to say they are, but I think he's wrong. I think they looked fragile on Friday, didn't they? Like the
I don't
littlest
know what
thing goes sideways, and it's just like, oh, they can't generate a chance.
I said it last week. It's like a jilted lover,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You love them, and this time it's going to be different, babe. Everything's good, and then all of a sudden, bam! That Anaheim game was just a kick right in the dick because they were good against Dallas. They were good. What the hell happened? It's impossible to trust them when they shit themselves like that at every 3, 4, 5 games.
Well,
They've
and
done it through since the All-Star game. They've done it all season. Their highs, I don't know, their wins look more impressive, or at least feel a little bit more impressive right now. Maybe it's because Markstrom's playing better. They're not giving up awful goals. But that game, it just, if you win that one, not even convincingly, just win it. Don't be awful. Then this is a whole different feel on this one tonight. You can't wait to get in the plane. Let's go. How long to Arizona? Let's go now.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, like, it's just this group. Would you be surprised at all if they struggled to emotionally get into tomorrow night's game? I wouldn't, or Tuesday night's game.
I know.
They might be great. Like, it's just you don't know what you're getting night to night. I don't know how you can look, as competent and capable and steely as they did in Dallas and Minnesota. And look, those were Picassos. You blew 2-goal leads in Dallas. You didn't score in Minnesota, but somehow won. And your goaltender gave you his first shutout of the year. But you go from that to just this listless, unable to really challenge John Gibson. Like, it was right back to the blueprint of a bad Flames game this year. Play down to your opponent, get behind, and really just settle for volume, not quality. Not good.
So the Big Bopper,
yes,
Chantilly Lace. There had to this voice and the phlegm, the whole thing that doesn't come from just one. Oh baby, that's what I like.
It was only one. I was late. Really? Because the 40th party, and but it was busy, and they're banging them out, and I was like, I got to get one in. Got one in.
Were you doing your
lack of sleep and no lack of alcohol the last 2 nights? Early kid hockey both days, so. Yeah,
were you doing the high pitched shrill Pinder laugh? That you do? No.
I got a video for you though. The booth next to us.
Good.
So when
Princey, can we play the video? Have we got the video?
Let's roll it.
We don't have that.
He's freaking out.
Well, and what's great, Pinder, is that you feel like this. I was the one you wanted me to take tonight off so that I could be rested going into the week. Yeah. Only some late Pacific Zone starts coming up this week.
Yeah, well,
if we got an 8:30 in there too. When's the Vegas one? Thursday.
I'm done guessing and reading the calendar. I'm just gonna go right to the bloody website. Let's make sure we
8
get
o'clock.
it right.
8 o'clock and 8 o'clock. So there you go. 10:30, 10:40. Start Afterburner by 10 to 11. Which is like 10 to 12 with that time change, depending how long your body takes to get over that.
Home and sleep whenever you are.
This one. I wasn't sure how this one was going to go. There's a disallowed goal, if you recall. They had 3 goals. Remember, Toffoli hits the goal post. Zadorov hits the post. Lindholm on the power play puts it off the crossbar, and a disallowed goal. 2 breakaway saves. I wasn't sure 10, 15 minutes into this hockey game how this thing was going to go, man.
We've seen a lot of periods like that. And sure enough, it's a penalty too. And you're like, oh no, like they're going to score on their first man advantage here and against the grain of play. And it's the same show we've done 1,000 times, but instead you get a shorty and a whale of a play, as you alluded to, with the 3 Swedes connecting and then all of them connecting again in opposite order on the second goal. That's a big night for the penalty killers. They set the tone, and perfect night plus a goal.
And then Markstrom and Backlund on that. That's the goal.
It's a primary helper. How do we determine that?
I'm not sure how that goes. I'm not sure. As good as I give my cheers of the game to Backlund, I think maybe about 2-3 weeks ago, we felt like it was starting to come and he had a nice little stretch, but it's now nothing in 9 straight for Andrew Mangiapane.
Yeah.
Who to me almost looks like he's fading a little bit. I just don't see him as involved. And maybe if you do, I feel like it's because of the work that's being done by Backlund and Coleman. Coleman, I thought was good tonight. I mean, I gave Backlund the cheers. It's another one of those things because remember they win against. I mean, they win against Minnesota. They didn't score.
Yeah.
If you want to get right down to it,
Mm-hmm.
this guy's he's a 30 goal guy.
Yeah.
And he's
not this year. Just ain't. I didn't mind him tonight, and I think the coach said they're dealing with that 18 line. Like that line does a lot of heavy lifting, and I love how physically invested in the game Mangiapane is. But yeah, like if there's another 10 goals there, how much better are you feeling about the season? A lot.
Well, I love that stat. I don't even know what it means. Francis and they showed it on the broadcast, and they were talking about it. That the 19 losses when out shooting their opponent by 10 or more, and all of the 1-goal games that they've lost. Yeah, throw in another 10 or 15 goals somewhere. You have to feel like it's.
I mean, and I don't know. We see this a fair amount. It's a new contract. It's a lot of change. Although it is the line he's finished the season with in that Oilers series, but I don't know that he'll ever get to those totals again that he had last year. What did he finish with? Like 34, 35, 36, something like that. But if you just had 25 goal under Mangiapane, you'd be much happier, right? No, you don't want 17 or 13 goal Mangiapane.
I don't know that there's much else. I get you're going to Arizona. It's a quick 2 games, and then it's back against Dallas. That's the week ahead. At Arizona Tuesday, at Vegas Thursday, and then home to the Stars. That will be. I was going to say that will be a great game. Who the hell knows what it's going to be? But Vegas, it seems like no matter who the hell Yuri Patera or whoever they had in net tonight, they just put anybody in net. They continue to win. Jesus.
It's backing up their AHL team. That's a thin the goalie situation.
Yeah.
Freddie's back.
Henderson Silver Knights. Yeah. What a great guy. What a great guy Brathwaite is. So I don't know what you Dallas and Vegas are not anything. And I think it's been well said. The Flames are not in any position to be looking at any opponent and saying we're better than them. We deserve to be favored going into this game. I don't know I mean, we always look at our Betway off the Betway app. What the Betway odds were they heavy favorites? Did you look?
They were, I believe, minus 300 for Friday against Anaheim. And I swear there's been like 4 or 5 this year where they've been minus 300 or even steeper, minus 400 against Chicago, Columbus. Like there's been some games where they are such heavy favorites. And really, if they fall just short of getting into the postseason, which is kind of what they're on track to do, right? Like if you look at the probabilities, they're going to get close, but they're really going to have to get some help and get on a heater to get in. You're going to be able to look back at the season of probably a half dozen games against cellar dwellers where they were heavy favorites and they just couldn't get a good effort, or they couldn't get saves, or they just pooped themselves. It's kind of been the story of the season. And I would expect on Betway when we come in and do picks on Tuesday, they're heavy favorites in Arizona in a building that the Coyotes have actually been pretty good. But I don't know. I mean, we keep talking about the strength of schedule. It doesn't seem to matter. If you're going to win back-to-back on the road against 2 playoff teams with huge travel in the middle and then come home rested and lose to a bad Anaheim team, like just throw your notes in the air. Like if that makes sense to you and you can tell me how they're going to play in Arizona or Vegas, like no idea.
Oh, and the other thing too, you were banking on Winnipeg having a tough time against Tampa and Florida. They got Boston coming up. I don't know. I fear for Flames fans that maybe Winnipeg has gotten right here a little bit, and that help that you were clinging to, that hope that you were going to see Winnipeg continue to struggle. I just don't know if it's.
They've got Carolina next. It's a 3-game road trip. They've already bagged 4 of a possible 4 points back to back in the state of Florida. That's really impressive. Tough to do. I think in extra time against the Panthers 2 nights ago, and then Tampa today they get a win. Carolina's not going to be easy. They haven't rolled Freddie Anderson out for a bit. They have Ranta hurt, but Kochetkov comes up and he's been phenomenal. And then they come home and face Boston and then Nashville. So, I mean, if the Jets are stringing wins together still, like that's an impressive quintet of teams to do it against.
Final thoughts on this one before we put a bow on it?
Well, we just keep saying like they're going to have to get on a heater and rip off, 5 in a row. Okay, well maybe it's 4 or 5. That's what you'll be if you can get a win against Arizona on Tuesday, and you're going to need more than one segment of 4 or 5. You're going to need 2 or 3 of them. Is there a stretch where you can win 8 out of 10? It's a nice game, but you're going to need a lot of nice games here. And it's the ones, again, to your point off the top, it's the Friday that's going to haunt you more than feeling good about the 4 other wins in that 5-game segment potentially.
Now can you pull out one that you'd think you're not, we didn't think you'd beat Dallas, then you beat Dallas. Can you do it again against another opponent and kind of saw off that horrible loss to Anaheim? You don't have any wiggle room to do it. But again, if it comes down to it, kiss your baby, Jacob Markstrom, eat well and keep your hydration up, because you're going to play in every goddamn game the rest of this season. It's been you even go to the Boston game because Vladar got yanked in that one. It's been 8 straight appearances for him, 7 of them starts, and you're going to go every single game until you're mathematically out. I can't imagine, unless it's an injury or something, maybe gets yanked. But can you imagine Vladar starting even in a back-to-back already? Markstrom's gone in a back-to-back.
I mean, if he's looking like this, you're right. If he has a night where it's like, ooh, okay, then you got a reason. But at this point, you cannot go away from the hot hand. You've been waiting for a hot hand for 2 months, begging one of these guys to get on a heater. Now you have one. Don't you dare take him out of there.
2 months, yeah. At least 3 months, 4 months.
Well, I mean, Vladar's had a couple nice runs, but they both were just so bad at the same time in February. That was really what stunk. But look, like, this is what you want. And to Daryl's point, it's like, hey, Jacob's playing really. I was like, yeah, well, that's what he's supposed to do.
That's what he's supposed
paid
to do.
Be a top 10 goalie in the league, and he doesn't look like one for, the first 4 months, but this 5th month of the year, whatever it is, he's looked dialed in March. Keep him going. Keep him going.
Some of the stuff coming in on the comments before we go. Rob on the old Facebook, they would need 26 of a remaining 30 points to even have a chance and a whole lot of help. It's done like dinner.
Well, I don't know if it's not like dinner. Like, we understand the odds are long.
Dinner.
Like,
he said, see how spelled it there. It was
dinner.
Done like dinner. Yeah. Sorry, I jumped. What's
Well, they play Nashville once, they play Winnipeg once, and you're 4 back, right? So it's not impossible. But yeah, you're going to have to get on a freaking heater, because this is when you don't string back-to-back wins together for over a month. This is what happens.
Break out the lightning in a bucket t-shirts. I'm not sure. I still have one. You never had one, right? Was that before?
No, we had a few made. I remember the nachos with Rhett's
There was the nachos, and then this one was the red and white.
Yeah.
Lightning in a bucket.
We should get some merch rolling. I got a couple ideas. I don't. If someone's accused me of stealing them, if we don't get these shirts up right away, let's go.
Oh, okay. There you go. Arizona is from JP off YouTube. Arizona is a wagon at home. Don't sleep on that game.
We're not sleeping on it. Like we said, you can't sleep on any games with this Flames team. And the one that they were at there, they dominated the crap at Arizona, but had to rally from down 3-1. We were at the Grey Eagle that night, remember?
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were all over them, had no business being down, but they were down. I don't think, and again, I don't know what you chalk the Anaheim game up to. But my whole thing, even last week, was after you've lost these games to these teams, if whatever you want to call them, cellar dwellers or bottom feeders or whatever, and then you lose to them. There's no one on that schedule that you can look and think, oh, we're in good shape here. Oh, we'll win that one. No, there's none.
When you've got 0 wins against Chicago, 3 of 4 points given away to Columbus, you've lost now to the Ducks at home. Like, you just can't. I'm sorry. Those are the 3 worst teams in the league. Like, there's no scheduled wins here. If you're going to lose to those teams in the fashion they have, sure as shit, no easy night in Arizona guaranteed, right? Of course not.
Flames win it by a score of 5-1 over the Ottawa Senators. Our cheers of the game: Jacob Markstrom, Michael Backlund. The win, obviously, for Markstrom, probably should have been a shutout. Don't think he cares. Take the win and you move on. Backlund, a couple nice assists. Brought to you by BK Bowfort Liquor on the Trans-Canada Highway across from Winsport beside McDonald's. You stop in, stock up on your way out to the mountains, on your way out of town. Say hi to everybody. Great family-run business out there on the city's west edge. On Twitter at BK Liquor, on Instagram at BK Bowfort Liquor. And our Buy It or Sell It, presented by Derrick Newman of Newman Dean's Real Estate Group with CIR Realty. Get a hold of old Derrick D. Newman at cirrealty.ca.
Masters soon.
Call 403-619-6661. Is he, because how far are we out now for the Masters?
I believe
weeks?
April 6th. So we're less than a month now. I think there's 3 tournaments and then the Masters. And because of the result that Adam Svensson had this weekend, he's in. We have 4 Canadians in the field locked in already, and potentially a couple more could if they get to the right spot, either winning or in a world ranking. So it's shaping up to be a great Masters.
So what is your strategy now?
Sleep.
Because spoiler alert, if you're watching on YouTube, we're live, but if you downloaded the podcast, obviously we've done it the night of the game. We encourage you to subscribe and like and listen to it on your way into work. It's a little fresh content for you. So you will go home after this. You're in studio. It's easier for you. You live very close to the studio rather than be yelling and screaming, although there was very little of that from you tonight, to be honest. And waking up your kids and all that. It's just easier to go. So a quick, go straight home. Okay?
Well,
I mean, want to go by the Trop or do something stupid. Just go home. But then what are you going to do with yourself?
I'm going to sleep, and I'm going to wake up and drink because my mouth is parched, and then I'll continue that ritual every hour for the whole night.
Because you did just come off a week where you felt like a bag of...
I'm an idiot. I do this to myself all the time. You see this. Everyone knows this. It's sadly not an act I'm putting on. I'm this dumb.
That's a good place to end. Flames win it 5-1.
Smarter than me.
It's Boomer. It's Afterburner.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddies. See ya.